Hi, welcome to our Wednesday TNT. A glorious day here in Phang, Thailand, and quite a fresh northeasterly wind. Over the past 3 or 4 days, we've had just a little bit of rain each afternoon, sort of a 5 or 10 minute downpour, but that looks to have passed. But it has been quite a different story on the other coast down here on the Malay Peninsula, and really it's been very, very wet in places like Phang, Samui, Koh Tao. Lots of Instagram posts of flooding and motorcycles all flooded, so best wishes to those people as hopefully that area's weather improves in the next few days. Bit of good news to come out of, all places, Hollywood. Bangkok Post reporting Thailand's Lalisa from Blackpink to perform at the Oscars. And the story notes K-pop superstar Lalisa Monobal, who's Thai of course, who made her acting debut in The White Lotus Series 3, arrives for a special premiere event at the HBO TV series in Bangkok on February the 14th. So, big break for the young Thai. Let's see what's happening with this story. And Lalisa is among a handful of big names who will be performing in a special tribute to the film industry at the Academy Awards this Sunday. And Lisa will be joining the American rapper Doja Cat, British singer Ray. Also appearing will be the Wicked stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, along with Queen Latifah. And specifics of the performances have not been announced, but the Academy says the group would be celebrating the filmmaking community and some of its legends. And Lisa, who recently made her acting debut in the hit HBO series The White Lotus, is preparing to release her first solo album, Alter Ego, this Friday. And Blackpink, which she's a member of, will open their 2025 World Tour on July 5 at Goyang Stadium in South Korea. So I think I'll be watching the Academy Awards Monday morning here just to see Lalisa perform, and good luck to her. All right, now to this story, covered in thepatianews.com. British man arrested in Chiang Mai for overstaying visa for over... You fill in the gap. How long did he overstay his visa? 1 month, 1 year, maybe longer? Well, the answer is 25 years. Now, I think that is somewhat of a record. And on February the 24th, a British national was arrested for overstaying his visa by a staggering 9,135 days. That's more than 25 years, following a targeted operation in the city. He's been charged with being an alien who entered and resided in the kingdom after permission had expired. He's now awaiting deportation to the UK. And the suspect admitted to entering Thailand back in 2000 under a 30-day visa exemption. And when his permit expired, he failed to apply for an extension and instead successfully managed to evade authorities for over 2 decades. Well, 2.5 decades. He lived in Bangkok for 13 years before relocating to Chiang Mai, where he resided for an additional 12 years. During this time, he obtained a new passport, possibly in an attempt to avoid detection, but Chiang Mai immigration officers tracked him down and made the arrest. Although overstay arrest and deportations are common in Thailand, one of this level of length is extremely unusual, and even immigration officers were shocked. And further down there, they're investigating the man and his connections to attempt to determine exactly how he'd avoided them for so long and if he possibly had any criminal record or history in the UK. Well, 25 years of overstay, I think that is a record. Probably people undetected in the country, still hiding, and maybe have overstayed even longer, but not yet found. Do you know of anybody who's overstayed longer than 25 years? And just imagine waking up each day just not quite sure if this is the day that you're going to be caught. Okay, to the issue of vaping. A very serious story here. We go to the Bangkok Post. Vaping schoolgirls remain in hospital. Now, these aren't the girls who are in hospital. These are the people who may have been selling them the vapes. 3 schoolgirls hospitalised for a week after 2 years of illegal vaping remain under close watch for lung complications. And the 3 students were in grades, good heavens, 5, 6 and 8 at a school in the Satuk district. And they remain under close watch because X-ray images showed large white areas of their lungs. Normally these areas would be dark on X-ray film. The doctor said they continue to depend on medication to prevent lung inflammation and on antibiotics to prevent infection. They must be kept under close observation to see if there are any complications. And the 3 students were sent to hospital by their school last week after vomiting and complaining of chest tightness and breathing difficulties. They were found to have been smoking e-cigarettes and drinking kratom juice for about 2 years. In the wake of the discovery, local police are arresting e-cigarette vendors throughout the province. Sellers arrested near the girls' school were taken to Buriram Provincial Court to have their detention prolonged. And the local Buriram health chief said their families must prevent them resuming smoking and drinking kratom juice. I think many of you can probably recall that during the 40s, 50s and 60s, it was very cool to be seen smoking. And then during the 70s and 80s, we discovered that smoking was in fact extremely dangerous. Do you sort of get the sneaking feeling that perhaps vaping might end up as a bit of a sleeper in regards to its health problems or its potential health problems? I mean, if you're sucking anything into your lungs at some stage, it is going to have some sort of injurious effect. And leading to this story, again from the Bangkok Post, Prime Minister orders serious anti-vaping action. The Prime Minister's ordered officials to intensify the suppression of e-cigarettes and amend the law to toughen punishments amid a teen vaping crisis and suspected officials' corruption in favour of the illicit business. Now, not a day goes by, I'm sure you're in the same boat, where you'll see somebody vaping, these days perhaps more surreptitiously than in the past. But it does happen, still plenty of people vaping, but technically, yeah, it's illegal. And the stepped-up response is a response to an outpouring of public concern over the case of the 3 Buriram schoolgirls who have been in hospital for a week. And the briefing was told about the arrest of vendors and the seizure of more than 3,000 items of e-cigarettes and related products. And further down there, the huge seizure and the negative impacts of vaping on young children and the rise of cheap toy pod products easily available in shops near schools showed that e-cigarettes were widespread among young people. And the Prime Minister had earlier called for a crackdown on the illegal import and sale of vaping products, but it had not been effective and the problem was escalating. And the government spokesperson said the organisation must speed up amendments to the law to set clear and harsher penalties. They must report progress to the Prime Minister in 15 days. And suppression of e-cigarettes has been inadequate or non-existent in many provinces where officials have been ignoring the well-being of young people. Well, there are still plenty of proponents of e-cigarettes out there. There's also a situation where any day of the week you could wander down Sukhumvit Road or around Patpong and easily find e-cigarettes available for sale. So maybe a crackdown's needed, but certainly any suppression in the past has done very little to suppress the use of e-cigarettes. Okay, to the issue of the 60-day visa exemption in Thailand, and there has been a bit of attention in recent days to perhaps closing that down or shortening the period because of the misbehaviour of some foreigners. And really, we're only talking about some foreigners. But this article from Pattaya Mail, Thailand's 60-day visa exemption, not to blame for crime surge. And the story penned by Barry Kenyon claims that visa exemption schemes is encouraging criminality have dominated immigration news over the past month. And further down there, call centre scams, drunken behaviour, street brawls, sexual escapades on the beach, illegal working and human trafficking have all been blamed on the government's encouragement of foreign arrivals. And the fate of tourists in hospitals uninsured and unable to fund their treatment has also been cited. Now, all those reasons to a greater or lesser extent have been cited for problems with misbehaving foreigners in the past, long before we had 60-day visa exemption. But moving on, the president of the Association of Thai Travel Agents claimed that weak law enforcement was mainly responsible for tourist-related woes. It was suggested the 60-day visa-free policy should be reduced to 30 days, even if that would slightly reduce the overall international numbers. But other sources say the visa policy is not to blame. They point out that the early policy of granting 30 days visa exempt allowed a further month's easy extension at local immigration, which totalled 60 days in any case. Same-day border hops were another way of extending vacation time in Thailand up to 6 months altogether. But a major change is due on April the 1st this year, when all tourists will be required to fill in an online entry authorisation form in advance of travel, giving their biographical and contact details, as well as their travel and accommodation information. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has denied this move is a visa in disguise. But immigration officers say it's part of a move to integrate several databases to identify unwanted visitors. Will it? Well, I'm not so sure. All a bit of a storm in a teacup, in my opinion, but I'd be interested to hear what you think on the matter. At the end of the day, it is a very small proportion of foreigners misbehaving, and shortening the time of the visa exemption and maybe the list of countries is one way to do it, or perhaps better enforcement. And with that, thank you very much for watching today. Always interested to hear what you think on matters brought up in the program. Please subscribe to the channel, and we do look forward to seeing you tomorrow.